You?
Can we start with the celebrations after Monday? You said you intended to celebrate properly and enjoy it. So how were those celebrations, and have you had a bit of time to reflect on the achievement of promotion?
Well, I think it's important once you achieve something really special with the club. It's also like in the history of the club, something really special. Just a second promotion to the Premier League in the last 35 years. The only other one was under Marcelo a few years ago during Corona time. So first time since 35 years with the supporters in the stadium. You have to value it, and you also have to celebrate it, because otherwise you will ask yourself one day, why are you doing all this hard work and discipline stuff anyhow if you can't cherish and value the moments? That's what we have done. And of course, and on Monday and also Tuesday, the celebration was ongoing. We also allowed ourselves, Wednesday was a day off anyway. Also yesterday an additional day off to recreate and clear the head a little bit and to rest a bit. But from today on, back to work. I think it was necessary also for the players to enjoy this moment. And right now we're also back to work, and I think also more than enough time to be ready for Monday evening again, because yes, of course, we want to finish also as strong as possible and win as many points as possible also in the upcoming games. But yes, it was also great and nice together with the players and with the staff and everyone who was involved to be able to celebrate, and we have all enjoyed this, yes.
How important is it now to finish the job and to win the title and to reach 100 points?
If I'm honest, we have finished the job, and believe me, I was in this position before. I've won this league title 2 times, and you didn't have any advantage on Premier League level by winning the title. So it doesn't matter what happens then for the future. So overall, the big challenge was to bring this club back to the Premier League, and if it would be easy, we would have done it more often in the last 35 years. So be sure of this. So it was a huge challenge, and we are all so happy and also a bit proud that you have achieved this. And this is achieved. We have already made sure that we have played the best season in the history of the club. 94 points. This club has never achieved. We are on 89 goals. Club has never scored 89 goals. I think the best goal difference in the history of the club. A few other records we have achieved already. This, of course, we have two more game days, perhaps to improve this even more, to win more points, to add a few more goals. And of course, we're desperate to do this. And if there's a chance, also then we want, of course, to win the league, because Burnley is also a fantastic competitor. They would also deserve it, but we also have the feeling that we would definitely also deserve it. Of course, we will try to do this. We have to win at least as many points as Burnley does, because we have the better goal difference. Of course, we will try to do this and try to finish as strong as possible. But it won't give us any advantage then for the next season. So whatever happens, so we have already achieved something historical and something really special. Yes, but of course, to win the title is also, especially for the players who have never won any league, something really special. And I, together with my staff, will try everything in order also like to make this happen, and we will work on it. And it would be, I think, a well-deserved reward. Not that Burnley wouldn't deserve it. They, of course, are also playing a fantastic season. But of course, we try everything right now also like to make it happen in the upcoming 2 games.
Surprisingly, there's been speculation about your future this week. Do you find it disrespectful? Are you disappointed given everything that you and the players have achieved this season?
No, not at all. It's also not surprisingly, because I knew exactly for which club I signed. So I'm not sure how many managers Leeds United had in the last 20 years. But normally, it's already a good effort if you last for 3 months and you're on this club, because once you sign for this club, in the moment once you sign a contract, from this moment there is lots of pressure, lots of noise, lots of expectations, and it's more like on a weekly base. Someone is linked by following you in this footsteps. So for that, it's nothing new or nothing what I wouldn't expect, because this club is just so emotional and also so big. journalists from all of the countries, even journalists who were never here and never have spoken to one person within the club. Anyhow, yeah, of course, they want to write about Leeds, and if you want to deliver some news that are also clicked anyhow, you have to bring also sometimes some shock news or whatever. That's quite normal. And also so many pundits who have some ideas and give their opinions. And of course, if you want to sell your opinions, you have to come sometimes across with something special or something strange anyhow. The big problem is if you're in charge for this club and you take it personal, or you are distracted from what your focus should be on, or you're struggling a bit, or you suffer, or you lose the self-confidence or the concentration, then you can't lead this club. It's difficult, of course, and challenging. I don't think the answer that this club is never, apart from Marcelo's great season, promoted in the last 35 years. It's not because the managers and the players were also clueless and hopeless and so poor in all of the last 35 years. But to handle the pressure and the expectations, all the rumors and all the gossip, that's not easy anyhow. But I was fully aware of this happens more or less, at least on a weekly basis, if you want to work for this club. But I'm not 1% distracted. I'm just focusing, concentrated on what we want to achieve. And we have achieved great things already, although there were, during the whole season, always lots of rumors and talking points and some opinions, and someone wants to sell his stories. We are also still 100% concentrate and focus, what you said, also like to win the title right now, if somehow possible. And I'm already, not the last days, because I was also celebrating and also recovering a little bit, but from today on back to work, and also from today on already preparing and to make sure that we also achieve the next step in what we want to achieve, to make out of this club an established Premier League club. And this is all my focus on. And for that, I have no time, no energy to waste on any rumors, any gossip, or any other opinions, or anything that has nothing to do what we want to do and want to achieve. So for that, that's not important for me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Daniel, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Just picking up on that point, 2 years ago, Parag Marathe said it wasn't a quick fix to bring you in. It was about getting out of the Championship, and also about giving you the best deck of cards possible to deal in the Premier League. How strong is that feeling still, do you feel, with the board? And what does that support look like now you've got promotion?
Yes, we've got a really trustful and really good relationship and consistent talks. Last talk with Parag last evening, for example, we already speaking about a few things, what we want to do with the future. It lasts also a while till I said yes to Leeds, because I wanted to speak 2 years ago about a few things. Was also for me not an easy decision to go back to the Championship, and I would I've said this, so for no other club than Leeds United, I would have taken the challenge again to take this big race in the Championship. But I know also what potential this club has, and yes, want to achieve what no one really has achieved in the last decades, to make out of this club really an established Premier League side. Yeah, Marcelo had one really great year, and he was fantastic here. Yeah, but if we as a club have just spent 3 years in the top flight of English football, at the moment we don't have the right to call us an established Premier League side, and this is more or less what I want to achieve. But it's never to speak about, okay, what will be in 3, 5, hopefully 10 years. It's more or less you have to work on it step by step, and this is also how I have worked here. So for me, when I came in, the first thing was more or less to steady the ship and to get rid of all the problems, the contractual disaster we had, and ongoings, outgoings, financial problems. Was important to build a new group. It was important also to create value by developing players, because this club was also, due to financial fair play, under big and huge financial pressure. We've built a new group, played overall a really good season, came close already last season to bring it over the line with 90 points, and then sadly a heartbreaking playoff final. But for me, it was also important to build a new group with a new spirit, and if we would go up, that we have a good chance anyhow, also a good basement to work on. And for me, it was important also to reunite this club again, and the relationship between players, staff and supporters was pretty ruined, if I'm honest. When I walked in, I wanted to create a new unity and relationship together with our supporters, and I think they value this team, and they value what they have achieved. And for me, it was also important to create a clear identity, the values that we want to stand for, and the approach, the principles, how we want to play football, that everyone can see also a clear handwriting of Leeds United. And I think this is what we also have established. Yes, and the most difficult thing is also like to get out of this league, this tough competitive league, and we've right now done this as well. And right now the next big step is waiting, more or less, especially to survive the first season on Premier League level. It's never easy. If you have a look on what happened also in the last seasons to the newly promoted side, you say it's a huge task and a big challenge, and everything has to be spot on in the decision making in order to achieve this, to stay up in the first season, and then not just the first season, but also to make sure that you stay for good and make out of this club established Premier League side. So it's a huge challenge, and of course we're working. Many things have to come together. You have to be ambitious as a club, and you need a proper budget. Without it, there's no chance also to achieve it. And we're working pretty hard to have a proper budget. Then you need to make sure that you improve in each and every department. We have to invest in the training ground. We have to invest, of course, also in improving the staff. We have to invest. Most important thing is also like to invest also in the playing squad, and of course there will be also hopefully many new incomings and also quality, and find the right players to improve you. That's quite important. Also, I think it's also a bit announced. We want to invest into the stadium anyhow, so you have to improve each and every day as a club, more or less on all areas, and this is what we're working on. And it's not just one simple target. You just sign 1 or 2 players and that's it. You have to be good in many decisions, and for that it will be a complicated and hard-working period to give this club also the best opportunity in order to achieve what we want to achieve. To make out of this club a club who can survive on Premier League level, and then who can establish themselves. So, and for that, lots of work is needed, and many discussions are needed, and we're trying to work pretty hard all together on it. And you can be sure I will also just overtake a challenge where I have got the feeling we have a chance anyhow to stay in this league. And this is what we're working more or less even in the last weeks and months, because we were preparing for different scenarios. But right now with this clarity even more on it, and this is our whole focus.
So you've got 2 games to manage and coach a side, hoping to a title down. But what decisions can you affect long term into the Premier League, or short term into the Premier League now? Some of those decisions are being taken now, presumably.
Yes, but it's more or less like right now it's important that we have a clear budget, and it's clear, okay, what we can spend. Of course, we will have to take some decisions for the players who are there in terms of contracts and extending contracts, or perhaps finishing some contracts, new incoming. So of course we need to have good decisions with the squad, because we need a squad who is competitive on Premier League level. Otherwise, we don't have to go into the next season. So for that, lots of work is ongoing. Also some improvements with the training ground, and of course we have already planned a bit the pre-season, also like fixtures and training camp and something like this. So all this has to be spot on in order to give yourself a chance, because you want to finish strong. You need a strong start and take the euphorism of promotion with you into the new season, and add as quick as possible also many points. So for that, it's also important that we have new signings relatively early and not in the end of August anyhow. So lots of work is going into this, and of course you try to affect this with good decisions, and this is my whole focus right now. Okay, the next 8 days will be also concentrate on trying to win the title, of course, but I think even in the next 8 days we have also lots of conversations already about what is necessary for the upcoming weeks and months, but no decision is taken right now yet. We have also celebrated a bit and recovered. It's not like yesterday I had big decisions only to take. So we have good conversations right now, and it will be more intense over the upcoming days.
So the conversations, you spoke to Chris Wilder this week, and Patrick Bamford did as well. How important was that, and did you instigate that?
No, it was just between Patrick and Chris, and they're long enough in the business that sometimes some emotions are running high. My conversation was, I have a really good relationship to Chris, and it's full of respect from both sides. I think he's doing an incredible job, and once he is successful, I will drop him a text or give him a call and congratulate him. And was the same on Tuesday morning. He called me straight away, and yeah, I think it was class also to call me and to say congratulations. Also regarding that we were in competition more or less pretty long. So he showed really real class anyhow, and appreciate this. And of course, right now we are up, and fingers crossed right now also like for him and his boys that he has a chance also to use the playoffs then.
Can I ask, what did a fire beast look like on Monday night, Daniel?
Karma, then I predicted, if I'm honest, we had a few drinks, yes, but then I also felt a bit my age pretty soon. I tried to survive because I didn't want to be the first one who went home, although I wanted to go home pretty quick. But without the players noticing, I switched also to a lot of water anyhow to survive a bit longer. And after a few players and staff members were left, I thought, okay, come on, right now it's not embarrassing if I go too early. I was pretty tired anyhow, and drove home, and but nevertheless was a great feeling, and also enjoyed the celebration, and we had a good time together.
And just finally for me, Bristol City on Monday night, they are one of the few sides that prevented you from scoring this season.
Yes.
And Liam's back fully in charge after having had a really difficult time this year. How much have they improved, and how much are they a serious threat for promotion?
Yes, I think they're playing an outstanding season. Liam is doing a fantastic job, and if someone deserves to be successful during this calendar year as well, then it's definitely Liam after all he has gone through. So it's remarkable what he's done, and rightly so. There are no gifts in this league, and they fully deserve to be in such a good position, and they have all chances also to finish in the top 6, and then also to have a go to promote perhaps already right now during this season to the Premier League. He's doing an outstanding job, has a really good group. There are also there was many impressive results recently, apart from the last game day, but we know it's a side who will fight for their life in order to win this precious important points for them to stay in this league. So it's definitely not a walk in the park or just celebration on Monday. I expect there will be a good atmosphere at Elland Road, and rightly so, but it will be one of the toughest tests we face during the whole season here at home, and also we will face a side who will try to go for it, and we have to be at our very best for that. It's even more important to be back in training and back in the concentrate work, because with a week just of celebration we would have no chance to win any points against Bristol. But of course, in this competitive game we also want to win as many points as possible, and for that we have to be on it the next days. Yes. Thank you.
Great.
Hi Daniel. Hi. Given that this is a very emotional club, an emotional fan base, and their reactions to everything this week, would you appreciate the ownership coming out and making clear their feelings on you and your job?
That's a question for the ownership. So it's more or less I concentrate what I do. So and for that, it's more a question for the ownership.
Tony Mowbray told us recently, someone had said to him, be careful what you wish for, because you can get a club like West Brom promoted and maybe lose the first 10 and then lose your job. Sadly, he has obviously now moved on. How excited are you for the chance to prove that with the right backing you can do it in the Premier League?
Not really excited, if I'm honest, because I'm not thinking too much about myself, because I don't think there's any point I have to prove. I was a bit like in my younger years as a manager, also highly motivated to prove myself anyhow, and of course to take the next steps on the ladder. But of course it always depends on which team you have, and for me it's also like the quality of a manager is never defined by a league. It's more or less either you are a really good manager or you're not. So it's not like you can do it in one league and not in the other league. So give you an example. So first promotion season with Norwich, when surprisingly we had a pretty young side, and surprisingly we won the title and scored nearly 100 goals and had more than 90 points, and I was also celebrated a lot, and it was a new best next thing as a manager, but I was never over the moon. We had games. We played in this title-winning season against Swansea. were, I think, away game at Swansea 4-0 up, and everyone was like, "Oh, Swansea plays so naive," and it's more like, "Yeah, Norwich is the real stuff," and Daniel is doing a great job anyhow. But I was thinking already when we played Swansea during this year, there's a really, really interesting, relatively young manager who has a really good approach, and he's doing the right things in his football. Yeah, we just had the better side. I had the better players, and we won the game already after 20 minutes, 4-0. I think the final result was a 4 or 5-0. But everyone was just talking about me and how great we were, and not that much about a manager who finished with Swansea in mid-table. But I was hoping that the clubs have a clue and have a good eye for quality of the manager, because I thought, okay, his approach is really well. And thank God Brighton had this and signed Graham Potter. And they signed him. And 1 season later, I played with Norwich away at Brighton. It was a tight game, I'm not sure. I think we lost 2-1 or 2-0 or something like this. I was never thinking, just because I won the title and Graham finished on position 11 in the championship, that I'm way better as a coach, and he's in the championship completely out of his depth. And the other way around, we went to Brighton with the Norwich side. No one has ever played before for my players in the Premier League. And apart from 1 or 2 exceptions, also afterwards, never. And Graham had by far the better side, and they were beating us. And I was not in self-doubt and was thinking, oh, I have no chance against this manager anyhow. So I think it always depends on which group you have in order to be competitive. And of course, if you're interested, I could give you my thoughts about my time at Norwich anyhow, why it was not possible to stay in this league. But in order to prove yourself, so too far away. So I know what you need to have in order to survive in the top flight. By the experience, what I didn't have at Norwich, for example. 2 years ago, I worked in the Bundesliga for also a club with a half decent for the Bundesliga budget anyhow, and I knew what was necessary to finish with this club in mid-table. So for that, it always depends on what you have, what you can achieve, what you can do. But nevertheless, it will still be a big challenge on Premier League level. The clubs who have gone up last season, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton, you can read the numbers, how much they have spent. Unbelievable amount of money, and for them it was not possible to stay in this league. When I think about my times at Norwich, again, we just had players who were out of contract in the second and third tier, and we went up into the Premier League, and I think we spent £8 million anyhow. And we had nearly a miracle because we had even more points that, for example, than all the other clubs who were promoted last season had by spending way more. So I know how challenging and difficult it is, but not like to prove myself. I know when you have a proper team and proper resources and proper backing and proper opportunities in order to be successful, then of course it's more likely than you do this instead of you have no tools anyhow. And for this is the most important thing. We have to work on giving ourselves a chance and of course having proper funds and proper budget, but also like to do something sensible with the budget and to bring the right players in and the right choices and to have a competitive squad. This is what we want to do. But I'm not at all focused on proving myself, because I don't have the feeling I have to prove anything. It's more like just the right decisions with the experience to use from, of course, the time in Norwich, but also the time in Gladbach, for example, what is needed to finish in mid-table, so position 10 next season. In the top flight, I would take it with Leeds. Perhaps not for the next 20 years, because one day you also want to finish in the top half of the table. But straight after promotion would be nice, and for that we're working just on this. So not thinking about my personal situation at all.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
I think your reaction to the speculation of the future is actually quite admirable. I think many people will be impressed by your attitude towards that. But I'm just wondering, do you worry that such speculation kind of impact the mindsets of your players? And I'm particularly thinking of those whose maybe contracts or futures aren't decided yet at the club.
Well, the players work with me more or less since 2 years together, or some of them right now since 1 year. And the players who think I've got no clue, and I'm really unbelievable poor manager. I think they will say, the speculations are right, so he's not good. And the players who think, okay, he knows what he's talking about and he's doing the right things and he's a really good manager, they will still think, because I work with them on a daily basis, that I'm capable. I don't think that it will affect them at all. You have to ask them as well, but I don't think that any judgment of the players or the staff I work with anyhow is just influenced by speculation of some journalists anyhow a few hundred miles away who are writing some articles, or some pundits who never have been in or never worked as a manager anyhow give some ideas. I don't think so. But you have to ask the players, and it doesn't matter anyhow because I can't influence it as well. We have a pretty strong relationship, and I don't think it affects them at all.
Thank you, appreciate that. And when you were standing on the steps, you were looking out at the crowd. What were your emotions? What were your thoughts, apart from maybe where's my next beer? What were your thoughts and emotions when you saw all the crowd there, especially after a long season and the hard work that you've put in?
I was hoping that no one hits me with the champagne, because all the players, normally they are pretty respectful and not brave enough to embarrass the manager. But in this overriding emotion, they try to hit me with the champagne. So I was always a bit careful. And then, also because everyone was singing, I didn't want to embarrass myself with the wrong lyrics anyhow when everyone was singing the songs about Dan James and Jane Bogle and something like this. Was thinking a little bit, so I was waiting if there is also perhaps a song about myself anyhow. So after 2 years, because Harry Gray, after being the first time in the squad, he has already 2 songs anyhow. So I was a bit jealous, if I'm honest. But apart from that, I was just enjoying the feeling, and also then to have this view, and also to be close to our supporters and to see how proud they are and what it means to them, also to see this in their eyes. I think it was a pretty touching moment, and I think in this moment I was also pretty more emotional than just to think about myself or whatever. It was a pretty proud moment, and also you were reminded why you want to overtake this job, because you have the chance with this responsibility to put also joy and bit of relief, but also to be proud in the heads and the hearts and the soul of so many people who love this club and adore this club, and for them it means so much, and to give something back to them, and to bring joy into their life. This was a pretty proud moment and a pretty touching moment, I have to say.
You talked about the handwriting of your tactical style. We know possession has been a real key thing over the last 2 years. You've dominated the ball in territory. I'd imagine you're realistic to know that would be highly unlikely in the Premier League. So will you compromise those principles, or how will you adapt, if you like, to facing faster opposition?
Yes, to have to adapt, because if you play middle Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, you can't expect that you drive there and dominate 90% of possession and just make them just defend. Of course, you have to adapt. And for me, it's always once you analyze which teams were successful in terms of surviving, especially after being promoted. Not many in the last years, you have to be honest, but the sides who were promoted because of attacking football, they were quite often struggling on Premier League level, because obviously you can't be that dominant anymore, and you're not that used that much to defend anymore, because not so much a topic. But the teams who were promoted because of defending, especially, they need the skill, and they're also used to it in the Premier League, and for that they are a bit more likely to stay there. That's definitely for sure. So for that, I'm fully aware of this, and also I think this is one of the cornerstones that we need to have in our head. Also, once we plan for the Premier League, you need physicality, you need to defend really proper, you need strength in terms of set pieces. But on the other hand, it's more or less it's still that you have to play proper football, and you still have to be yourself, because all the other teams can also analyze what is necessary to stay in this league, and of course physicality, defending, counter-attacks, set pieces are very, very important to survive in this league. But I think all the teams who are relegated right now were also pretty aware of this. And I think the topics I spoke about, I would say, with all respect, but Leeds in the 2 years of struggling, they've also pretty much concentrated, especially on this topics. I think it's still important that you have, or even on the top level, a clear idea with the ball and that you are good in possession and keep the opponent away as much as possible. But of course, always with a good balance. So for that, I'm pretty pleased that we've shown this balance also during this season, because I think in expected goals against us, we are on position 1 in this league. So we are also promoted, by an unbelievable attacking style, more goals than we've ever scored as Leeds United, but also with many clean sheets and could have been better without a few individual errors, but also based on a really good defending. And this is something what we have to use also in the next season, and it will be definitely important for the next season. So I don't expect us to dominate games with 80-90% possession. Perhaps a few would be nice, and also to take this into this, because if you allow Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal 95% possession, you will crumble. That's definitely for sure. But to focus and to adapt your approach and to be flexible with this, and to take perhaps a bit less risk in your positioning and your structure, I think this is definitely a good advice and a good key. And this is also what I have already in my mind, also in planning the squad for the next season.
You touched a little bit on your time at Norwich. You've obviously been up close and personal with a season and a half of how it goes when you're struggling in that division. So what lessons did you take specifically from there that you can tell us that you'll learn from, if you like, this time?
Yes, I know we like to speak about lessons learned, but if I'm honest, it was not a lesson learned in Norwich. It was like fully expected, because we went up with a bunch of young lads that we have signed from the second, third tier, out of contract. We had many players from the own academy, and a team who was not equipped for the Premier League. They were actually not equipped to win the championship title, but we were able to do this with a little miracle. But we did this and went up, and then we had discussions more or less with our owners, and they said, listen, Daniel, of course we can buy a proper centre back and a proper striker and spend some money, but even if we do so, we have never ever a team who is ready for the Premier League, and we would need a miracle anyway. So our decision is we don't want to spend money. We want to use, of course, the finances from the Premier League to pay for the sins in the past, to pay money back to the banks, to extend the training ground, to invest in the training ground, to invest in the academy, to invest in the stadium, and to extend also some contracts of our young players to create some values, knowing that we would need a miracle to stay in this Premier League, and it's pretty likely 99% we will go down. I said, okay, that's the reality. It's more like, then please sign a cheaper coach, because at this time anyhow I had some proper offers, so from the top flight, not just in England but also in the Bundesliga. But they asked me, no, you have to stay, because you have this reputation right now. There's just one manager who can help us also to accept, also the outside world, supporters, journalists, the press, to accept that we will probably get relegated and try to create a miracle. And if someone is there and creates a miracle, then it's probably you anyhow, because you've done this even on championship level. And for me, it was clear it's no chance that it works, but I got the feeling I owe this club a lot, because they signed me as a very young manager. First non-British manager in the history. I came from the lower tier in Germany, and of course many people advised me, no, it's more like if you go down, it's with your reputation anyhow, and you have the chance in the top flight to go to the Bundesliga, for example, do this right now. But I can't change the human being that I am. So I had the responsibility for the players, I had the responsibility for the club, and I wanted to give something back, knowing that we would go down anyhow. But if someone is perhaps capable to help this club more or less to create a miracle, it was me. And if I'm honest, after 29 game days, we were on 23 points. Was never enough, but it was not bad. It was better than all the clubs, for example, during this season have done with spending lots of money. We have spent 8 million euros. And there was still a chance. Sadly, then there was Corona, the lockdown, and after that we had to play without any supporters. And believe me, without emotions, without supporters, then the quality shined through. I think we've lost the last 9 games anyhow. We had no chance at all. But it was nearly a miracle that with this group of players, I love these players and don't want to be too critical, that we had more than 20 points. And for that, it was not lessons learned. Yeah, I was aware what we would need in the Premier League. It was another proof that I was right anyhow, because it was for me under these circumstances is relegation more or less confirmed, because we have started. It was just like, okay, do I pay something back? Do I overtake the responsibility and make sure that the club doesn't crumble and falls apart, but is still stable, although it would go down? And I decided not to be selfish and not to just think about my reputation or about my career. I wanted to give something back, and this is why I opted also to stay. And for that, then it's more like, we relegated, and this, but it was not a lesson learned. It was more or less what I expected. It was more or less like what is necessary to finish on the top flight, at least a mid-table. And we're also not too far away from Europe. This was more or less what I also learned a bit in Gladbach, and also to deal with some really superstars. And we had players who played the World Cup final, like Marcus Thuram, for example. This is where I would say, come on, there you have learned even a bit more. Also, like how to get along with some superstars. Of course, I had a pretty close relationship also when I worked for Dortmund with some of them. But this was more lessons that I have learned in comparison to my time in Norwich.
Thank you. We're going to do next questions under embargo, if that's okay. If we can turn cameras off, please.